At 80 years old, I wake up earlier than the sun. Not because I'm driven. Not because I'm motivated. But because of memories. My mind still feels like a battlefield. Not a war of weapons but a war of thoughts, where, for years, I fought fears that never truly arrived. When I was young, my head was never quiet. Voices shouted day and night. What if I fail? What if I fall behind? What if I choose the wrong path? I used to call myself ambitious, responsible, hardworking. Now I know the truth that I was a professional worrier, a full-time expert at anxiety disguised as success. I chased my career the way a thirsty man chases a mirage. The faster I ran, the further peace seemed to move away. Every morning I woke up with fear. Every night I went to sleep with guilt that I felt important, that I felt needed. But deep inside, I felt empty and I was too afraid to admit it. I kept telling myself, this is for the future. Just a little longer. After this promotion. After this salary. What I didn't realize then was that I was living inside a cage made of other people's expectations. The door was never locked, that I just never dared to push it open. I was afraid of being called a failure. Afraid of disappointing others. Afraid of looking ordinary. So I kept running, in pressed suits and polite smiles. Carrying worry everywhere I went, like walking with an umbrella on a sunny day, never allowing myself to feel the warmth. Now, at 80, I look back, and I almost laugh. Because 99% of things never happened. 99% of the fears that stole my sleep never came true. The promotion I feared losing, it didn't matter. The small mistakes I thought would destroy my reputation, forgotten within weeks. The dark future I kept imagining, it never arrived. What did arrive was something I never planned for. Regret. Regret for chasing something that turned out to be big nothings, things that looked important but were empty at their core. And while I chased them, I ignored the small somethings. The quiet moments, the unnoticed smiles, the ordinary days that were actually my life. I didn't understand back then that worry is a thief. It doesn't steal your money. It doesn't take your job. It steals your today. It steals the taste of a warm meal, the sound of laughter in the next room, the simple gift of breathing without fear. I thought enough was a number, a salary, a title, a position in other people's eyes. Only now do I understand. Enough is a state of mind. Enough isn't about how high you climb, it's about how light your heart feels when you stop. If I could speak to my younger self, I wouldn't say, don't work hard. I would whisper, don't trade your life for fear. Because chasing the wrong career isn't about choosing the wrong job. It's about postponing your life for something that never promised happiness. And now, at 80, I finally asked the question I should have asked long ago. Will this matter when I'm 80 years old? The first lie I believed was about reputation. When I was young, I thought reputation was everything. I thought it was my armor. My proof of worth. Back then, I told myself, if they respect me, I'll be safe. If they admire me, I'll matter. If they speak my name with approval, I'll be at peace. So I guarded my image like a fragile treasure. I chose my words carefully. I hid my doubts. I swallowed my truth. I said yes when I wanted to say no. I stayed silent when I wanted to walk away. I became skilled at being impressive and terrible at being honest. What I believed then, reputation would protect me. What I understand now, at 80, reputation is temporary, selective, and incredibly forgetful. The people I tried so hard to impress didn't remember the sacrifices I made. They don't remember the nights I lost sleep. They don't remember the version of me that was slowly disappearing. Reputation fades faster than you think. But the years you give up for it, they never come back. The second lie was about money and status. I thought money was freedom. I thought status was security. I thought if I earned enough, fear would finally leave me alone. So I kept raising the bar. Every time I reached a goal, it quietly moved higher. What I believed then, one more raise and I'll relax. One more milestone and I'll feel safe. But safety never arrived. Only new worries did. More money didn't silence my fear, it multiplied it. More status didn't calm my mind, it made me afraid of falling. I spent years climbing without realizing I was afraid to stop. Now, at 80, I see it clearly. Money is useful, but it is not peace. Status opens doors, but it also builds walls. walls between you and your time, your health, your loved ones. I chased wealth thinking it would give me control. Instead, it controlled me. I was still a professional warrior, just in a better suit. I worried about losing what I had. I worried about keeping up. I worried about being replaced. I was always preparing for disasters that never arrived, still walking with an umbrella on a sunny day. And again, 99% of things never happened. The market crashes I feared, I survived them. The financial mistakes I thought would ruin me, they didn't. What truly hurt me was not what I lost, but what I postponed. Dinners I skipped, conversations I rushed, moments I told myself I'd enjoy later. Later became a habit. Then later became regret. I once believed that success meant more money, more recognition, more approval. But now I know, enough is a state of mind. Some of the wealthiest moments of my life were the poorest on paper, and some of my emptiest years looked very successful from the outside. I thought I was building a future, but too often I was just running from the present. And while I was busy chasing big nothings, life was quietly offering me small somethings. Moments that asked for nothing but my attention. Moments I didn't notice. Moments I can't relive. At 80, the truth is simple and painfully clear. Reputation didn't sit with me in silence. Money didn't hold my hand in the quiet moments. Status didn't slow time. Only presence ever did. And presence was the one thing I kept postponing. The third lie was about the future. I believed the future was something I had to constantly prepare for. Control. Predict. I lived in what-ifs. What if this fails? What if I choose wrong? What if I don't prepare enough? I treated the future like a fragile glass that could shatter at any moment. So I spent my days bracing myself, tightening my grip, never fully relaxing. What I believed then, if I worry enough, I'll be ready. But worry never made me ready. It only made me tired. I spent years rehearsing disasters that never happened. Years carrying fear into moments that deserved peace. Looking back now, I see how absurd it was. I was walking with an umbrella on a sunny day, so focused on the sky that I forgot to feel the warmth on my skin. And the truth is simple, 99% of things never happened. The futures I feared never arrived. But the present I ignored, that disappeared quietly. Only now do I understand that worry is a thief. It didn't steal my future, it stole my now. The fourth lie was the most painful one. The lie about family. I told myself I was doing everything for them, for their security, for their comfort, for their future. That's what I said out loud. But deep inside, I also needed the excuse. Work became my permission to be absent. To be distracted. To be unavailable. What I believed then, they'll understand later. They'll thank me someday. But life doesn't work that way. Children don't remember how hard you worked. They remember whether you were there. They remember your voice at bedtime, your attention at the table, your presence in the room. At 80, I see the truth clearly. I missed moments that will never return. Conversations that only happen once. Laughter that fades if you don't listen. I thought I had time. I thought I could make it up later. Later never comes back with the same faces, the same voices, the same chances. While I was chasing success, my children were growing. While I was building a career, relationships were quietly changing. I believed providing was enough. But now I know, presence matters more. Family doesn't need perfection. They need you. Not exhausted, not distracted, not half listening. Just there. And this is the hardest truth to accept. No amount of money can buy back missed years. No title can replace a forgotten moment. No success can silence the question that visits me in quiet rooms. Was I really there? At 80, the lies fall apart. The future was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be lived, one ordinary day at a time. And family was never something to postpone. They were the small somethings I traded away for big nothings. And now, with time almost gone, I finally understand. The most important things in life never ask you to hurry. At 80, my world has become smaller. Not because life took something away, but because I finally learned what deserves my attention. The loud ambitions are gone. The endless comparisons are quiet now. The chase has stopped. What remains are the small somethings. The way morning light rests on the floor. The warmth of a cup held with both hands, the sweetness of fruit tasted slowly without checking the time. These things don't look impressive. They don't appear in resumes, they don't earn applause. But they are real, they are honest, they are life. I spent decades running after big nothings. Titles, approval, expectations, things that demanded everything and gave very little back. And now I see it clearly, the richest moments were never the loud ones. They were quiet, unannounced, easy to miss if you were in a hurry. A shared laugh across the room, a familiar voice calling your name. Silence that feels safe. These were the moments I kept postponing. I told myself, after this deadline, after this promotion, after things settle down. But life doesn't settle down. It just keeps moving. And while I waited, worry was a thief. It stole afternoons. It stole attention. It stole the ability to be fully where my feet were. I believed enough would arrive someday. That one day I would finally feel secure. But now I understand, enough is a state of mind. It isn't something you earn. It's something you choose. You choose it when you stop proving, when you stop explaining, when you stop living inside a cage made of other people's expectations. At 80, no one asks about my job title. No one cares how busy I was. No one measures my worth by my productivity. What matters is who stayed, who remembers, who feels my absence when I'm quiet. And that brings me to the question I wish I had asked myself every single day. Will this matter when I'm 80 years old? Will this meeting matter? Will this argument matter? Will this pressure matter? Or is this just another day spent walking with an umbrella on a sunny day, protecting myself from storms that never come? Because 99% of things never happened. But 100% of life was happening while I worried. If you're listening to this and you feel tired, anxious, stuck in a routine that drains you, please hear this from someone who has already arrived at the end of the road. Slow down before life forces you to. Pay attention before memory becomes all you have. Choose presence while you still have time. One day sooner than you think you'll stop chasing. And when that day comes, I hope you can say, I didn't trade my life for fear. I didn't postpone love. I didn't miss the small somethings. Because in the end, those small somethings were everything.